everybody, it's Chris and I'm back to do another pour with you today. So today we're going to do a cloudy effect pour. You can see that my canvas already has some paint on it because I tried this and my paint was way too thin. And I tried mixing my paints with Liquitex pouring medium and water, and I got my paints way too thin. So I'm going to go back to what I know, and that's using my pouring medium. So all of my paints have been mixed with my pouring medium recipe. That is 4 cups of Floetrol that has been strained, a cup of Elmer's Glue All, a half a cup of Liquitex pouring medium, and about a 1/4 cup of water. And that all gets mixed together and mixed to my paints. I probably do about 1 part paint to 3 to 4 parts of pouring medium, depending on the thickness of the paint. So the colors that I'm using today, obviously my DecoArt Satin Enamel White has been mixed with the Artist Loft Flow Acrylic White. And I'm also using the metallic blue Cobalt from Artist Loft. This is one of my favorite colors. And then I also have a Liquitex Heavy Body Acrylic, which is Turquoise Deep. This is the Turquoise Deep. This is the metallic Cobalt. And then I also have some golden iridescent copper that has been mixed with the pouring medium too, and that's this guy here. I don't have a ton of this mixed up just because I don't want the copper to take over, but I think it'll be a really beautiful accent in with the pour. And then this is the Turquoise Deep. My paints, I kind of feel like my paint is still a tiny bit thick. And this is the metallic Cobalt. In fact, I think I do want to add just a tiny bit of water to this one. That heavy bodied paint is like super thick and it's a beautiful color, but sometimes I just kind of have a hard time deciding if it's thick enough or not, or if I need to add just a little bit more to it. So I'm just going to add a little bit more water to that because I don't want to have issues. There we go. That's much better. Okay. And then this is the white. And as I said, this is the DecoArt Satin Enamel White with the Flow Artist Acrylic White. And then added the pouring medium in there. So those are my 4 paints that we're using. This is the cup I used before, so we're going to reuse it. I'm working on a 16 by 20 canvas. It's a deep gallery wrapped canvas from Michaels. I'm going to start with the Turquoise Deep in the bottom. And then we'll add in some of that white. And then I think we'll add in a little bit of the copper. And I think what I'll do is just kind of do 2 additions of copper in there. And then I think I want to add just a tiny bit of my regular white. And then I'm going to put in the metallic Cobalt. So probably going to do about 2 layers of color here. And then I think we'll do a little bit more of our DecoArt White. This already looks so much better than the first time, let me tell you. And then this is the Turquoise Deep. And then we'll come back in with the DecoArt White. And our Cobalt Blue. I'm just going to pour the rest of that Cobalt Blue in there. And then I'm going to put some of the regular white. And some more of our Turquoise Deep. So I did a calculation on the paint and it told me about 14 ounces of paint for this size of canvas. So this is an 18-ounce cup, I believe. And then I'm going to come back in with the rest of that copper. And I want to make sure I get every last drop of that beautiful copper. I'm kind of curious. I have not used my golden copper in quite a while. And so I thought, you know, I just need to break that out and use it. I'm going to put just a little bit more of that white, DecoArt White, and I think a tiny bit more of that Turquoise Deep. And then we're going to pour and see what we get. The cup already looks beautiful. Okay, so let me show you a close-up of the cup. It is a very full cup of paint. We're just going to start pouring right here in the center. So as I started to say, I'm curious to see if the copper, if it kind of makes a difference to use the more expensive copper, because obviously the golden copper is much more expensive than like the Liquitex Basics or the Hobby Lobby brand of copper, or even the Artist Loft. So I'm kind of curious to see if it makes a difference in the pour and if it really does stand out. So I guess this is a bit of an experiment, and we'll see what we get here. So I'm just kind of continuing to pour. I'm kind of slightly turning the cup so that I'm kind of getting a tree ring pour. I do kind of want to turn this a little bit more because I want to make sure that my color is evenly distributed. And there we go. And I want my tree rings as I'm dumping my paint everywhere, but that's all right. The color is quite beautiful. I'm much happier with the color this time because I feel like I'm actually getting the color that I wanted. The last time I felt like my Cobalt Deep really just got completely lost. You can see that how dark the canvas is. I think all of my Cobalt Deep, or Turquoise Deep, excuse me, sunk all the way to the bottom of the canvas is what I really think happened. Because like I said, I'm kind of going slow because I want to make sure that I get my paints out of here nicely. As I said, my paint was way too thin. So this already looks so much better than the first time. You know how when you like start to do a pour, you have this idea of what you want it to turn out, and in your head it's like really beautiful. And then as the paints get out on the canvas, you're like, oh my goodness, what did I do? That's kind of how it was with the last one. All right. Having a hard time keeping my rings going every time I move that cup and try to get my colors going the right way. There we go. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and tip that up. Oh, that's all right. We're gonna tip that off anyway. Okay, so looks so much better. Just gonna kind of gently blow on it. I think we might torch it and get rid of those air bubbles. All right. Yes, definitely an improvement from the last time. All right, guys, so we're gonna pick this up and we are just going to kind of gently roll it around and kind of stretch the paint out a little bit. Kind of get our canvas covered a tiny bit more before we start dumping it off the sides and trying to cover everything. I always get like really weird. I feel like I have very weird things in the middle. In fact, I'm going to stop right there. I don't like all of this right here. So I'm going to stop and we're going to put just a little bit more paint in here and see if I can get rid of that real quick, because I really don't like how that looks. It looks all like intestinal or something, and I don't like that. Which I know that's where the copper is. So hopefully we don't lose all of that, but that's all right. So I'm gonna see if I can't make this look a little bit prettier before we tilt any further. And there we go. Okay. I feel better about it now. Okay, now we're just going to continue to tilt and move it around. So don't be afraid to stop, and if you feel like you have something that's not quite right, don't be afraid to stop and do something to correct it. Because in the end, you'll probably be much happier with it than you would have been if you would have just left it. All right, this is looking so much better. All right, I think we're going to go up here to the right corner and we're going to see if we can't tilt off a bit and get our corners covered up here. So just going to go up here off that corner and come back. And I'll fix that in just a bit here, but I didn't want to keep tipping off. So just going to let the paint kind of flow back down. And then we're going to go over to that upper left corner. There we go. And then I'm just going to let the weight of the paint come down here to the low left. Hopefully you guys can still see. Kind of stretching that paint out a bit more and stretching the color out. I'm going to go ahead and catch this, I think, because we still need to cover that other right corner, or the lower right corner. So I'm just kind of building a dam with my hand, and then I will let it go and the paint will flow over, but I didn't lose a ton of paint trying to cover that corner. And now we're just going to let it creep back down here to the right. Those are beautiful colors. This should be really pretty when it dries too. I think I can see the copper. It's not super prevalent, which is fine. I didn't want it to be crazy with copper. But I think as it dries, it'll be really beautiful. Okay, so now I just need to get this right corner covered up here. So just letting my paint flow down here. Have some very cool cells. So there's no silicone in the paint. A lot of the cell action that you're seeing is coming from that DecoArt Satin Enamel White, which kind of gives that effect of the cloudiness and the fluffiness that you see. As well as I think the pouring medium helps with that too, because my pouring medium will definitely create some cells. I want that one little area covered. There we go. And then I'm just going to let that drop over the side. All right, and now I'm just going to kind of go back up and try to get that really interesting part in the middle, a little bit further up on the canvas. And I may not be able to do that because I see that my right corner down here is kind of wanting to jump back up there and take over. So I'm not going to let that do that. I'm just going to bring this back down here. All right. So much better than the first time. I love those colors. All right, make sure I've got you in frame. Okay, so you can see the center where I poured the extra. You know, obviously it's much deeper with that turquoise deep, but I'm fine with that. I think I like that it is a much better design in my opinion than what I had there. So I'm happy that I did that. I'm just going to go ahead and touch this corner up a little bit and make sure that the sides are okay. And then I'll pop back on in about 10 minutes to show you if it changes. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. It has definitely changed a little bit more. I have a little bit more turquoise popping up through the white. I think as it dries, I think it will continue to change a little bit more as well. The copper is kind of throughout the painting, which I really love. And I think as it dries, that metallic cobalt and the copper are really going to start popping through. So I will post a link in the description of this video, probably in a couple of days once this has dried. I will post it on my Facebook page, so if you'd like to take a look at it when it's dried, you're certainly welcome to. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.